So last night I watched Inside with Willem Dafoe, and wow, this movie is insane. I really enjoyed it. And I'm just gonna cut to the chase because I'm pressed for time. I will explain every single confusing and symbolic detail of this movie in this video. I swear. I did my research. And if you like this video, please leave a thumbs up and a comment. It helps so much. And if you want to see more of these, please make sure to subscribe as well. Let's get started. Theme number 1, imprisonment of artistry. In Nemo's opening narration, we hear a story about how Nemo was asked in elementary school what 3 things he would save if his house was on fire. As a child, Nemo said he would save his cat, his AC/DC album, and his sketchbook, and specifically wouldn't bother to save anyone in his family. And out of those 3 items that he listed, the only thing Nemo still has with him is a sketchbook. So the narration closes with the line, "Cats die, music fades, but art is for keeps." Becoming too attached to your own art or the culture of art can cause you to disconnect from the important things and the people that you were once close to. Art can consume your entire life and become your only love because no one sees it and understands it the way you do. And metaphorically, this is what the whole premise of the movie represents. Nemo is trapped in his own love for art, separated from the real world around him, and unable to connect with the human beings in his environment. As this opening quote suggests, Nemo was an artist, likely a failed artist who wishes he still had his old potential. He now makes it his mission to steal art from those who have succeeded instead of him. He sketches in his book, imitating the art that he appreciates, and has fantasies of being accepted by the highly prestigious artistic communities he's not welcomed by. And we'll dive further into these fantasies later on in this video. As Nemo's prolonged isolation pulls him further down into madness, we see him interact with the art pieces around him. And every interaction between Nemo and the art symbolizes something about how art affects artists and their relationship with the world around them. One painting that Nemo keeps staring at is called After and Before, created for the film by Francesco Clemente. It's originally based on an artwork called Christina's World by Andrew Wyeth. It's about a woman who's isolated in a field, vulnerable and fearful because she cannot move. The concept of the painting reflects Nemo's desperation to reach a sense of community and love, past all the artwork trapping him psychologically and isolating him. Another piece of art is a projection we see Nemo watching. It's called I Can't Make You Love Me by Breda Beban. This artwork, self-explanatorily, symbolizes for the film how it is difficult for an artist to find love. Both the man and the woman are speaking to each other, but are separated into 2 different projections, never interacting in one shot. And the metaphor is expanded upon as we see Nemo struggle to reach the housekeeper, Jasmine, who he has quickly developed an infatuation and affinity for. As the film continues, Nemo begins to realize that prestigious art is what is destroying him and separating him from the things that are more important. So symbolically, he marks the owner as a devil, and the daughter and the dog as a princess and angel. The daughter and the dog are the things that Nemo is separated from because he is so immersed in art, as we see them both looking at him from the other side of the glass. We also see Joanna Prochowska's Untitled series, a collection of photos of small forts created with household items. The collection is about desperately sheltering yourself even further within a domesticated society that already protects you. It represents our cyclical, endless paranoia from the outside world, even when we should be perfectly safe. And of course, we see Nemo expand on this art series with a structure of household items that will raise him, hopefully, to freedom. And metaphorically, raise him to heaven. Which brings me to theme number 2, chasing heaven. Every passionate artist is always chasing some kind of heaven. Some artists chase perfection with their art. Some artists chase catharsis with their art. And most unfortunately, many artists also chase validation with their art. They want to feel accepted, and Nemo is one of those artists. There's a scene where Nemo is having a dream where he meets the apartment owner who is hosting an event, some kind of exhibit or presentation. And Nemo is accepted and appreciated by him. The owner greatly values Nemo's input and approval artistically. This is Nemo's fantasy On top of this, he is being recognized by a beautiful woman who appears in the image of Jasmine, the housekeeper. But they never fully make contact with one another. There's this longing for love that Nemo will never have, and likely never had, because he was so immersed in his love for art and his creations. And to push this theme further in the film features a piece by David Horvitz, All the Time That Will Come After This Moment. It's a statement about naively, continuously looking towards the future, waiting for things to improve, rather than enjoying the current moment. By thinking this way, we are imprisoning ourselves. Life becomes a prison, a repetitive, monotonous, routine, lifeless prison. Just like Dafoe's character is in literally right now. This ties in with the artwork of the men walking up the stairs into nothing. It symbolizes our lifelong await for heaven, perfection, validation, and before we know it, death takes us away from so much of the things that we could have loved. It represents our ignorance towards the simplest joys of life on earth. This is why we see Nemo chanting, "I'm going to heaven on the hillside," in a moment of peace, but also delusion. We have this fear of vulnerability and weakness in this imperfect world that we should rather be embracing. This is symbolized by the imagery of the dying, injured pigeon, which is pretty horrific, which brings me to theme number 3, embracing imperfection. This theme of embracing imperfection is put front and center when we are introduced to the owner's book, titled The Marriage of Heaven and Hell by William Blake. The book represents the owner's philosophy of life needing a balance between the good and the bad, and that the good and the bad is not actually good or bad, it's just the balance of life. We should be filled with temptation of material and superficial desires, while we should appreciate the beauty of the simple things. It makes us human. This is what many professors interpret William Blake's book to mean, put in the simplest terms, of course. This is why the owner says a line along the lines of, "Opposites need each other to create balance." And Nemo takes on this belief system in the next few scenes. He wears the artwork of Petrit Halilaj's Moth, becoming his own kind of shaman, which from my research was a spontaneous idea from Willem Dafoe as they were shooting. He puts a spiral around the light of the sun and creates his own religious practice and ceremony with household items like bolts and pillows. In his ceremony, on one side of the wall, there are materials crossed out, and on the other side of the wall, they're not crossed out. This represents that belief of balance between desire and gratitude, which artists very often struggle to grasp. As Nemo descends further and further into madness, he ascends further and further into freedom. He slams the duct tape man painting to the floor, setting him free before he sets himself free. He climbs the structure and eventually breaks through to the roof of the penthouse. Nemo has symbolically risen to his heaven. By means of survival, he has escaped from the imprisonment of artistry, embraced the world's imperfections, and is once again, whether dead or alive, reconnected with the universe. Alright, that's my analysis. Subscribe for weekly videos and please send me your recommendations. And please let me know what you thought about the movie Inside. I hope to see you again and thank you so much for watching. See you later.